Hello everybody, how are you? It's Riss. So today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite literary fiction books. I feel like in the sphere of book social media like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I feel like sometimes lit fic book can get a little snubbed. And my thing is lit fic books are some of my favorites. Like so many of these books are books that I grew up and fell in love with reading through and got me back into reading when I reapproached it like years later. The reason why I'm doing this, my inspiration, my girl Randy, is the lit fic queen. She has so many recommendations and they're all bangers. So she made a video about her top lit fic books too. I think that you guys should go check it out. She's just iconic. She's so good. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with a bang with my favorite one. It is That Was Then, This Is Now by S.E. Hinton. This is short, it's like just shy of 200 pages, and it is technically YA, but the themes in this book and the way they execute them are so perfectly done. I honestly feel like it can be appreciated at any age. I first read it in middle school and I would literally carry it around with me to read over and over again in my free time, after tests, whatever. I also wrote a paper about this in college. This book is like everything to me. It is about two friends, Mark and Brian, and they're like essentially brothers. They're so close, and as they start to become teenagers, Mark wants to stay in his adolescent, mischievous, immature vibe, and Brian wants to take his life more seriously. He meets a girl. It's just a story of them growing apart and how some things just can't be undone and how some things just happen and you just have to go with it, and friendships and family and everything suffers as a cause. It is a really good book. A lot of really great lessons. I definitely recommend this one. I recommend all of S.E. Hinton stuff. I also recommend Rumblefish, which is great, and then I recommend The Outsiders. The Outsiders is just so good. All of her books are about like brotherhood and friendship and a lot of class issues, but everybody's probably read The Outsiders. It's about a group of like the gangs, like the greasers and the socias, whatever. Everybody's read this, I feel like, but I just had to give credit where credit is due. This is great, but I think that That Was Then, This Is Now got snubbed in the process. The next book that I recommend is a historical fiction book. It is The Book Thief. Again, a really popular one. I honestly feel like I'm gonna have some basic ones on this list, but at the same time, it's like, what is basic? Like, what does that even mean? The Book Thief is heartbreaking. It takes place during the Holocaust and it follows a young girl and a Jewish person, and it is just, and like so many people in between, like her parents, like her best friend, so many people. The time of which this book takes place is one of the most like horrible times in our history, and it's just captured so well. I definitely suggest this book, and I need to pick up one of his other ones. Randy suggested one that sounded really good, and I did order it, so stay tuned for that. Next, I have one that is, again, maybe a little basic. Do I care? No. A Little Life is so good. A Little Life, some people say, is like trauma porn, and that you shouldn't read it because it's just too unnecessarily much, but I think that was too much in this, and what was encapsulated in the trigger warnings is actually just an accurate depiction of some of the horrible things that happens to a person, a young boy, an adult man. This book is jaw-dropping. It is like revolutionary in my opinion. Definitely check the trigger warnings. Definitely make sure that you know what you're getting into, because there are no punches pulled in this, let me tell you. There are no content warnings inside of the book, so you're gonna have to go outside of the book to see them, but there's a lot of stuff in here, and it follows a group of friends, and the main character, oh my god, he's so, like, that's my baby. Jude is literally like my baby. I love Jude so much, and this book was so painful and raw and just so good. I recommend this, but only if you really are prepared to listen to read some shit. The next one that I recommend is Where the Crawdads Sing. This book is about resilience. It's about becoming one with nature. It's about a girl's will to survive in the most unforeseen, unsurvivable circumstances ever. This book is so gorgeous. The setting is everything. It is so it makes you feel connected with nature. It follows Kaya growing up in, I think, North Carolina, and she is crazy smart. She knows all these things about like bugs, and she starts to go into town and like starts to meet some guys, and she's just, this is a really good book about survival and about growing into yourself. I loved this one. The last one that I recommend is A Long Way Down by Nick Hornby. I like Nick Hornby's stuff, even though it's a little controversial. He writes characters that are so hateable, and he writes characters that are sexist and pigs, and it's intentional, like, obviously, but sometimes that's why some of his books can be hit or miss, is because the characters are so sometimes insufferable, it doesn't make you want to stay in their head. Like, he did another one, High Fidelity, and the main character of that is just, you want to leave his head so bad. You want to get out. You want to, and it's all intentional, and it's brilliant. But A Long Way Down is about 4 people who all meet up with the intention of completing suicide, and they decide to put it to the test and give them a certain amount of time, and if, I think it's like by Valentine's Day, and if by Valentine's Day they still want to do it, then they can do it or something. It's crazy, but it is about like life and death and all of the bro, sorry, my camera died and now it's a lot darker. But as I was saying, this book goes into these people's lives and what has driven them to this point, and it's just a really powerful read that kind of broadens your perspective on things a little bit. But the one character who is kind of the main character, I think he's actually the narrator, his story is kind of young. It's like he's there because he slept with an underage girl, and he claims that he didn't know she was underage, but he's also like an unreliable narrator. Kind of gross. I guess that's a little bit of a trigger warning, but I think that this book is really good, and I really like the other characters, even though they are also kind of insufferable, but it's good. So yeah, those are my favorite lit fic books. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye!